carry out their malicious brand of espionage. Not for a second did she doubt the depths to which they would go in order to establish everybody's business, or, more particularly, the contempt in which they held her. With a roar of engine, Romily gaily waved to the three women, and, still eating the peach, drove out of the cobbled market square ringed with a topsy-turvy assortment of shops and cottages, some with thatched roofs, others with slate, all of them as neat as new pins. As she slowed her speed to turn onto the main street, she spotted Miss Gant and Miss Treadmill trudging up the road. Following a few feet behind, and as if mimicking their slightly waddling gait, was a pair of white geese, each with the green and yellow ribbon around its neck. They were as well behaved as any faithful hound trailing after its owner, and were a familiar sight in the village. Nobody batted an eyelid, apart from strangers. It was a short distance to Island House, and after tossing the peach stone into the shrubbery at the entrance, Romily drove through the gates and brought her MG to a stop alongside Jack's prized 4.5-litre Bentley saloon, CXF 114. They had been planning to drive it down to the French Riviera next month, but now, with all the talk of war becoming a grim reality, the holiday was unlikely to happen. She had spent the last 2 weeks touring Europe, carrying out a series of speaking engagements about her latest book, and everything she had seen and heard, particularly in Vienna and Berlin, told her that Nazi Germany was intent on spreading its vile roots, and by any means. War was going to happen. It wasn't a matter of if anymore. It was when. Out of the MG, and taking a moment to stare up at the beautiful house she now regarded as her home, she thought how exceedingly glad she was to be back. Then, with eager hands, she hurriedly gathered up her handbag and the small amount of luggage she had brought with her. She was about to let herself in at the front door when it was opened by her maid, Florence. The dear girl had been with her for the last 4 years, having come to work for Romily in London when she was just 15. Back then, she had been a shy and timid thing who had jumped at her own shadow, but Romily had soon cured her of that. The girl's unswerving loyalty and devotion was matched only by her willingness to accept the unconventional manner in which Romily chose to live. "How was your trip, miss? Madam?" asked Florence, reaching out to take the heavier of the bags from her. "Tiring, but successful," Romily replied, with a smile, amused at being called Madam, a form of address she had yet to get used to. "Is Mr. Devereux at home?" she asked. "Yes, he's in his study. He's been in there since after lunch listening to music, and told me he didn't want to be disturbed, not for anything." Romily smiled again. "We shall see about that. Could you ask Mrs. Partridge to rustle up a sandwich for me, please? I'm ravenous. Oh, and here, have a peach. They're delicious." Taking her handbag and leather briefcase with her, she went upstairs to her dressing room, next door to the bedroom she shared with Jack. Older than Romily by 27 years, Jack Devereux was the first man she had truly loved, and the first man who had allowed her to be the woman she wanted to be. Most men, in her experience, had wanted to tame her and effectively turn her into something she wasn't, their social inferior. Invariably, the very things that attracted these men in the first place, her independence and spirit of adventure, were what they set out to squash once they thought they had ownership of her. Jack hadn't been like that. Perhaps that was because he was so much older and didn't feel threatened by her success as a writer, or the strength of her character. They had met earlier in the spring at Brooklands, although she had already known of him through her love of racing. Her passion for cars had come about as a result of being invited to watch her best friend's brother compete in a race. Both Romily